Yes, everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Stephen Howson. This is 5 things that we learned watching Manchester United beat Crystal Palace. Number 1, Martial and Rashford are on fire. This season we've seen Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford hit 22 goals and 8 assists each. That's 30 goal involvements for both of them. At the start of the season, we said we're going to have to see a record-breaking season from both of these players to make up for what we've lost in Lukaku and kind of what we've lost in Sanchez, and they're going to have to really step up to the plate because there is no recognised goal scorer that has scored 20 goals in this team. Just none. Both of them managed to get over the line with 20 goals. We've got Mason Greenwood, who's barely started. He's also on 16 goals. That is 60 goals across the front line from our 3 forwards. That is absolutely mint. And when you take into account the average age of these players, it's ridiculous. Now, we all knew Tony Martial had a fantastic completion rate of his goals. He's looking at 25.6% conversion rate at the moment, which is elite. Marcus Rashford is a little bit lower. He's on 20.6% of a conversion rate, which is still pretty good considering that when Zlatan was here, and we know how well Zlatan did when he was here, he was down at 12.6%. So he's almost twice as effective as what Zlatan was, scoring some fantastic goals, and we're seeing him change his abilities and become this playmaker, creating chances for other people, bringing them into the game and doing absolutely mint when he's doing it. Number 2, Fernandes is mint, and do you know what? Tonight wasn't his night and he was not mint tonight, but he's still getting in the mix, so he's still got another assist. He's still contributing to the team going forward, and even though he was a little bit off the boil tonight, he still picked up, controversially I've got to say, man of the match for BT Sport. So far we're looking at a player that's got 8 goals, 8 assists, in about 1,100 minutes, which is a goal contribution every 73 minutes that he plays. I don't care if he never scores another goal for Manchester United. He has been an absolute bargain. How did we get him so cheap? The mind boggles. Number 3, squad depth is still very clearly an issue for Manchester United. We saw Ole only make 2 substitutions last night, where you go, right, okay, we've got so many games coming up. The players are looking lethargic. He only had the confidence in bringing on Jesse Lingard, who's hardly featured, and Nemanja Matic, who's featured constantly, and this was his only night off that we've really seen him get, and he still chooses only to bring on 2 substitutes. Does he not trust them? We saw against Norwich that he rotated heavily, and we almost paid the price for that because it was a woeful and probably our worst performance since Project Restart. Does he not trust the players? Does he not trust a certain group of those players? Or does he have a core group of a squad that he knows can fulfill what he's looking for, and they're the only ones that he trusts to be out on the pitch for us? That's all well and good, but as we almost saw, I mean, we kind of saw against Southampton, if that breaks down, there's very little you can turn to on the bench, and there's very little that you can do to improve that if you've only got a very small core of players. It highlights the need to get into the transfer market early, as soon as we are allowed, and start bringing in some players to bolster this squad. Ole needs to get rid of the deadwood, which is a phrase that we've used so much in the last 7 years. Ole's actually gone about it better than any other manager that we've seen so far since Sir Alex, but he also needs to bring in first-choice players like he's done in his couple of transfers windows that he's been active in. He's got to do that more. He's got to bring in first-choice players. He's got to resolve what's going on at left-back. He's got to resolve what's going on that right-wing spot. We'd all like to see another midfielder or maybe 2. And as Gary Neville was talking about last night, we might also need a centre-half to replace Victor Lindelof. As we saw last night, we also saw Timbo Fosu-Mensah resurrected from the dead and given a start after not featuring in over 1,000 days. Clearly showing the fact that there's not enough players that he's happy with, and if you're Diogo Dalot, you've got to be like, right, do I not exist? If Diogo Dalot's not injured, that is not a good sign when he chooses to resurrect someone who was literally dead and play them instead of you. Number 4, David De Gea is still a key player for United. Last night, David De Gea made 5 saves, including 2 very key saves, which was very difficult. We had the one in the top corner and the line breaker that we saw from Zaha. We also saw Dean Henderson concede 2 goals against Leicester. The debate still rages on completely. David De Gea, in terms of his shot stopping, there's not really been that much of a question mark. The problem is, and we saw this against Southampton, against a team that's going to press us hard and press us in certain areas, do we have the confidence or the ability in De Gea where he can go and break that first line with a pass. That's what Ederson does very well. Manchester City can go a bit longer because the distribution in Ederson is far more accurate than what David De Gea has got. Even though they're not aiming for big target men, which is something that we could do with a real big target man for us to go to. They're not aiming for that, but they're getting the ball accurately into the channels. They're chasing it down and they're making things happen from there. United struggle to get past that first line of a press. And for me, that's going to be our biggest issue going into next season. It's one of the issues we have to sort out. That, defending at our own set pieces and attacking set pieces far more quality than we're seeing from us at the moment. So many times we can win a header. So many times we put the ball in the right area and just do fucking nothing with it. There's a few areas that they have to work on. We've sorted out a lot of the defence from open play. David De Gea is okay from most sort of situations when it comes to defending. He has to improve with the ball at his feet. There's been so many goalkeeper changes, and I'm not really digging Alvaro coming out in the press as well recently. I'm not sure what all that's about. But we really need to see Manchester United get a proper goalkeeping coach that can really help David De Gea going forward. And improve upon his passing ability with the rest of the squad. Because I see that as a major weakness in Manchester United that can be exploited. And if it's not him, it's everybody else as well. The goalkeeper has to be considered as part of what's going on when it comes to the build-up, especially with the way goal kicks are set out nowadays. And we have to have some systems when a team decides that they're going to press us the way Southampton did. I look at some of the teams that we've got left this season and I can see potential issues in a couple of those games. That could be resolved if we was just better on the ball coming out from goalkeeper. The debate is going to rage on probably for another year at least with what's going on with De Gea and Henderson. If Henderson remains at the club, that's going to be an issue for everybody to resolve. If Henderson is moved on, then, you know, if he goes on and is a success somewhere, that we're never going to hear the end of that either. And the last thing that we learnt last night then is Champions League football is still on. Just. Last night was a must-win game for Manchester United, and luckily we did win that. There's all sorts of scenarios flying around the office at the moment as people are like, wait a minute, if United win, then we might be able to... I don't really want to get into these, but there is a way that United and Leicester could play out a draw if Chelsea drop points and both of us scrape into the Champions League, fucking Chelsea in the process, which would be nice, wouldn't it? Putting Chelsea into fifth, make sure we both qualify. Nod, nod, wink, wink, Rodders. If that happens, sweet. Is it going to happen? Probably not. We're waiting on Chelsea to drop points, and then no matter what happens, we might not be catchable from there. But do you know what? I'd rather United just went out there and did our job. Do the job on Sunday against Chelsea, do the job on Wednesday, and do the job next Sunday against Leicester. Do your fucking job, lads. Win 3 games, be in an FA Cup final, and in Champions League for next season. And then if we win the FA Cup against City, fucking quality. But we have to do our job. I don't like the fact that top 4 has become more important than things like the FA Cup, but if we're being real, it has. It has become more important because players make moves based on the fact whether you're playing Champions League football or not. No sponsor has said to United, we're going to cut your pay by 25% if you don't win the FA Cup. But they do say that about the Champions League. United have to be on the biggest stage in world football. That is the Champions League. It's bigger than the World Cup. It's bigger than any international competition. It's bigger than any domestic competition. You have to be in the Champions League, no matter what. Manchester United need to be in the Champions League. We have to do our job. Beat West Ham, beat Leicester, fuck the consequences for everything else, get in the Champions League. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in checking out our away shirt, which is on pre-order, it's absolutely flying off the shelves. Link for that is in the description. Go check it out. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.